welcome to our D3 Residuum conference. And I totally understand it is a big day. And welcome to our lovely students, our MA students, our doctoral students to contribute to this discussion. And all of us lovely speak. And today's presentation would be very, very enjoyable. And I will introduce the first speaker to today, which name is Hao Yun. And her topic is human technology symbiosis, animation, disciplinary power, and the digital subject in contemporary art practices. And welcome to our first speaker. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to have the chance to share my research with you today. My topic today is the symbiosis between humans and technology. I chose this topic because technology has greatly influenced me. It makes me feel worried and confused. I even feel being controlled and gradually losing my ability to think on my own. With technology developing rapidly, AI and mobile internet have become part of daily life. Technology and capital are closely linked, shaping and limiting people, and causing widespread mental confusion and self-alienation. This research means to guide people to rethink how we can avoid being consumed by technology and take charge of how we live with it. And on the left side, I have concerns of the lifetime of human technology development. We can clearly see that technology is developing faster and faster, gradually changing from assisting humans to shaping humans. And next, I will look at this issue from a more symbiotic perspective. And the data shows the change in global internet users over the past 20 years. The number has grown from 1 billion to 6 billion, nearly 3/4 of the world's population. This means that in the digital age, technology is no longer just a tool, but has become the digital environment we live in. There are many real news stories about technology's impact. In China, delivery riders are forced by platform algorithm delivery orders in less time. More than 70 of them ran and red lights or go the wrong way on roads. They traffic rate is 3 times longer than other common jobs. When we order takeout, we only care about getting our food quickly. We suddenly think of the riders shoving through traffic and taking risks on the road. Algorithms only focus on efficiency and profit, ignoring safety and human needs. This is actually how capital oppresses and alienates people. And I recently did an experiment on China's versions of TikTok. I randomly watched the 13 live streams and found half were most the same. They were repetitive, silly dance, and meaningless eating shows. The more reverse tape, the more ridiculous and hard horses too. People rely on these empty live streams to example thinker intention. But the platform's traffic rules still allow the indulge this meaningless contact. Let's stop and think. If a stranger keeps overlooking their body, doing pointless and exhausting acts just for lips and to follow the actions demand, and finally complex or even dies suddenly for overlook. So who is the real operator? The viewers, the platform algorithms, or the profit-seeking capital behind it. And I have come to realize that modern capitalism no longer only exploits works, it exploits everyone. Every like and every share we make is nothing, but the data is to capital. We think we are using technology, but in fact, we are being used by it and exploited by capital. And I put an interesting pictures on the left side. It shows the evolution from apes to modern human, and finally turns into a product backward. Will human beings set up being only a stream of data, an ID, or a stable symbol in this world? Emotional overload often makes me feel lost and confused. In recent years, the question I ask myself most often is, who are you? Technology is developing so fast, and laws cannot keep up. This leads to one tragedy after another. That is why I created this project. I do not think that technology brings us great convenience and broadens our horizons, but I also cannot ignore its harm. I hope to explore the possibility of benign symbiosis between humans and technology. Therefore, in this project, I take speculative design as the core to create an immersive art space. I hope the audience can step into my artistic practice and examine and rethink the complex relationship between humans and technology. And there, I have represented the extensive research on academic and artistic. And next, I want to introduce my personal artistic practice. Starting from 2022, I have been creating immersive speculative design. And in 2023, I create the new work centers on gene editing technology. It builds a fiction future space that reflects real-world issues. It aims to make audience think about technology ethics and social fairness. As you can see, the work includes both physical installations and the future video message. Audience can piece together the story step by step from graduate materials such as posters, newspapers, and video step on site. This method is not meant to give a fixed answer. Instead, it allows viewers to form their own judgment and understanding during the experience. In my work, I do not state my opinion directly. Many audiences stand inside the space for a long time, and each person understands it in a different way. These different interpretations also become part of the work itself. And based on this practice, my future research will continue to take speculative design as the core direction. I will keep creating immersive art space that combines installations with fiction's future videos, combining contemporary issues such as technological alienation, discrimination controlled by capital and spiritual confuse. My work will reflect the real dilemmas fake in daily life. And I still will not offer any standard answer through the combinations of vision, space, and on-site experience. I hope audience can voluntarily reflect on the relationship between humans and technology, capital and the self, and find their own way to live in true symbiosis with technology. Thank you.
Wonderful, and thanks for our first speaker start the day. I know it is a big day for everyone. And now let's just pop to the next speaker, whose name is Ziliang Ying. And his title is The Generation of Sublime Experience in Virtual Reality. Let's welcome to our next speaker. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Start. Okay. Good morning, everyone. It is great to be here and have the opportunity to share my presentation with you. My research title is The Generation of Sublime Experience in Virtual Reality, a process-oriented study. On this slide, you can see several screenshots from video games and VR on both sides. These are all popular titles from recent years, such as Cyberpunk 2077 and Half-Life Alyx. I believe most of us are already familiar with video games and VR. So perhaps you can think back for a moment. When was the last time you felt awe, fear, or even a sense of smallness while exploring a virtual space? Experiences like these are connected to what Edmund Burke described as the sublime. It is usually understood as a powerful emotional experience involving the feeling such as awe, fear, astonishment, or a sense of smallness, encountering something vast or unknown. Yeah. With the development of VR, immersive environments also provide new possibilities for studying these experiences in this field. This is also the main focus of my study, exploring how sublime experiences emerge in VR environments. Next, based on the existing literature, I would like to discuss several research gaps in this field. First, the overall number of studies on sublime experience in virtual environments is still relatively limited, suggesting that the field is still developing. Second, most existing research is primarily theoretical, while empirical studies remain relatively scarce. This raises questions about how well these theories are supported by data. Third, existing experimental studies are often adopt simplified measures of sublime experience, resulting in limited and one-sided understandings of its complex emotional dimensions. And fourth, most studies test whether traditional design elements can trigger certain responses, rather than exploring new ways of understanding sublime experience in virtual environments. To better explain my research, next I would like to introduce my research positioning. The main basis of my research positioning comes from my personal background and several related theories. Personally, I have 3 years of working experience in the VR industry, and I'm also a virtual experience enthusiast and a researcher in this field. These factors shape the way I think about how users experience virtual spaces. In my point of view, I believe that virtual space offers a unique form of experience. The sublime experience in virtual spaces usually do not happen instantly, but develop gradually through exploration. In addition, virtual spaces often contain complex information and structural and spatial structures, which can create cognitive load and require users to spend time to understand and adapting to the environment. So I believe that sublime experience in virtual spaces emerge through this process of exploration, understanding, and interaction. To some extent, the idea can also be seen in existing research. For example, Mary Law Ryan suggests that experiences in VR environments have strong temporal and process-oriented characteristics. She explains this through the concepts of spatial immersion and temporal immersion. Therefore, in the following research, I will explore sublime experiences in VR from spatial and temporal perspectives. So, based on the identified research gaps and positioning, the main question of my study is, how does sublime experience emerge through users' exploration of virtual reality environments? In terms of the theoretical perspectives, this research will mainly draw on 2 parts. The first part focuses on theories related to the sublime, such as Burken sublime, the Kantian sublime, the natural sublime, and the technological sublime. The second part introduces theories related to spatial and temporal perspectives, such as spatial immersion, temporal immersion, and several other concepts. Together, these theories will support this research and also help guide the design of the virtual space used in this study. Finally, I will briefly introduce the methodology and the overall approach of this study. This study will adopt a practice-based approach, combining both quantitative and qualitative methods. The general idea is to first create virtual environments through theoretical and case analysis. Then use these environments to collect user data. And finally, analyze the data to explore the research questions. The data collection will focus on both subjective and objective user experiences, including questionnaires, physiological measurements, and interview feedback. This is everything I want to introduce today. Thank you everyone for listening.
Wonderful, that's a really good speech. I know some of you may think stressed, some of you may think excited, but let's just relax and enjoy it. So let's welcome to our next speaker, whose name is Chenxi Wang, and her title would be Digital Process and Embodied Knowledge, Ceramic Practice in a Technologically Mediated Context. Welcome.
Hello everyone, today I want to share not only a work but also is ongoing practice-based research. When my research is with one simple but difficult question: when language becomes material, can it still carry meaning? In the time when information is everywhere, when expression is everywhere, and when AI can generate more and more content, does saying more really mean expression more, or the opposite is also true? And sometimes when there is too much, meaning gets lost, and sometimes when there is very little left, the meaning becomes stronger. So the title of my it's not. So the title of my research is The Materializing the Unseenable, a practice-based exploration of expression, compression, and meaning through material transformation in contemporary. This research is a practice-based research, so that means I do not start with a full theory and then to use a work to explain it. Instead, I use making, testing, observing, and reflecting. The work does not simply explain pure exact theory. That means the work itself begins with the place where the research happens and where the project comes from. What this project comes from my long term confusion about expression. When we are young, we always want to say a lot, write more, explain more, and then to improve our to think deeply. But very often, these words do not even reach other people. Sometimes they do not even reach ourselves. So later, when we go through more in life, we will realize that expression is not simple about saying more. Some feelings become weaker when we explain too much, and some life experience become less true when we try too hard to describe them. So what I want to say is not simple about text itself. It's about opposite. Why does too much destroy meaning, and why very little can make meaning explain more clearer? So what's the project come from? What's the project built? My project has 4 stages. The first stage is full text. I turn a complete piece into a physical matter. So I remove all the original order and into I remove the original order, and you can see all the present is fully all the text is fully present, but you can't read it. You can't read it. And the second is the summary. The summary, I reduce the language even further word, but it's still here, but it still cannot be read. And the third is keyword. The language reduced even further, but you still can't read it. It is still independent. So the first 3 stages is the language is reduced fewer and fewer, but you can't read it again. And the fourth stage is the one word or one simple that you can say one word, but you may think the one word can explain more than many paragraphs. So one word is instead a block of wax, and then use a low hair to hit it, and then the words and the work appear more clearly. So the audience do not receive more information. Instead, they say when let's remain something clear and emerge. So the work does not ask the audience to read the story, but witness a process. How language removes from fullness to fragmentation, and from fragmentation to a delight from all of meanings. How to read it? I also want to explain the role of AI in this research. I say AI is not only a new tool. I think AI can help me to explain writing ideas and generate early vision skills. And the second, AI is not the order of this work. It's both test and reflection. And today, testing and emerge can be generated more easily and quickly than to raise the question that when expression is become easier and faster, does meaning become stronger or the fragile? The AI is not main focus, but important contents for thinking about expression access and what may still remain after so much generation. And the academic meaning of this project, from a research point of view, this project brings together 3 I's. First I is craft and material practice. Material do not only carry form, but also take part in creating and breaking meaning. And the second is philosophical limited of language and expressions. In some ways, of my expression try to just before the silence, it try to reduce final sign before language despair. This part is impaired of Wittgenstein. He said, whereof one cannot speak, whereof one must be silent. And the third part is creative assets in age of AI. AI is not only a new tool, but a condition that search authorship, original, and the boundary of expression. So the reach of my the research gap is not only about whether material can become installation. It's also not only about whether AI can support design. This work is I really want to talk about is how does meaning disappear, point, or return when language is allowed to physical collapse. When language is returned into matter, compressed, and allowed to collapse over time, how does meaning disappear, pause, or return? So for me, this project is both a material work about language and a practice-based research about expression, growth, and silence. It's not to show how expression more actively, and it's to try to ask when does expression begin to fly and when does meaning begin to return. If the world today keeps asking us to be faster and louder, heavy, faster, louder, and then perhaps my work is do the opposite. Let language slow down, become heavy, break up, and melted, then in a place where most nothing can be said, to wait for the one thing that can be felt, recognized, and remain. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for your thoughtful ideas sharing. So let's welcome to our next speaker, whose name is Xingyue Zhuang, and her title will be about Beyond the Incident Towards a Structural AI Intervention Framework for School Bullying. Thank you, welcome.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Xingyue. Today I want to talk about something that is very common but often hard to say. Let me show you something. Imagine a student in a classroom. No one says anything bad to them. No one shouts. No one hurts them directly. But no one talks to them either. Day after day, week after week. And the question is this bullying? What if harm is not loud but silent? And this is where my research begins. Okay. Bullying is far more common than many people realize. According to UNESCO, nearly 1 in 3 students globally has experienced bullying, but many experiences remain invisible. Students often stay silent because of fear, shame, or because relational harm is difficult to explain, and the consequences can be severe. Bullying is associated with loneliness, sleep disorders, and suicidal thoughts. Importantly, these harms are not evenly distributed. Girls, LGBTQ+ students, and socially marginalized groups are often more vulnerable. And yet, many of these experiences leave no clear evidence, no report, no obvious incidents, no single moment for violence, which creates a problem. When we think about bullying, we usually think about events, something visible, something reportable. So naturally, many AI systems are designed by this way. They detect things like abusive language, physical conflict, or explicit reports. But what about everything else? What about silence? What about exclusion? Or uneven participation in everyday interactions? These forms of harm are much harder to detect, but they are just as real. Okay. So this leads to a limitation. Most approaches try to detect bullying through keywords, incidents, or alerts. But maybe we are asking the wrong question. Maybe the issue is not just detection. Maybe we need to understand relationships instead. Patterns of interaction, relations between students, and how these change over time. So instead of asking, can we detect bullying? I ask, can we understand the structure of social dynamics? So to explore this question, my research is grounded in practice-based research, which means I don't only study the problem from outside, I explore it through designing a system. So here, design is not just a method, but a way of knowing. Because some forms of harm cannot be fully understood through data alone. I combine co-design, prototyping, and iterative reflection. And through this process, I try to understand how structural harm can become visible. Okay. Based on this approach, I developed a research prototype called Guardian System. This system is not designed to detect bullying events. Instead, it explores how we might perceive relation patterns. So rather than asking, did something happen? It asks what patterns are forming over time. In other words, it shifts the focus from events to structures. Okay. So how does the Guardian system actually work? The system operates in 3 layers. First, it captures interaction signals from everyday campus life. Not just messages, but also participation, response patterns, and social presence over time. Importantly, these are raw signals, not judgment, not accusations, and not automatic conclusions. Second, the system models relationships over time. So instead of analyzing isolated incidents, it looks at how connections evolve, who becomes less connected, who stops participating, or how reciprocity gradually changes. Because harm often emerges slowly through accumulation. And finally, the system presents this structure visually, without assigning blame. There are no labels like bullying or victim. Instead, the system creates a space for interpretation. It helps staff and students notice patterns, reflect together, and decide how support might be offered. So the goal is not automated judgment. The goal is to make relational structure more visible. So what did this reveal? First, harm does not appear in single moments. It becomes visible only over time. When interactions are aggregated, patterns begin to emerge. But not all patterns are easy to interpret. The second finding is about silence. The system can show it who speaks less, who is not responded to. But silence does not explain itself. It may indicate exclusion, but also other possibilities. So making silence visible does not mean understand it. And this leads to a deeper shift. Most systems try to identify who is responsible. But here, the focus moves from attribution to distribution. Instead of asking who, we begin to look at how attention and participation are unevenly distributed. So we can see patterns, but we cannot directly understand them. And that changes what intervention might mean. Okay. The shift also introduces attention. Most AI systems aim for clarity. They detect, classify, and decide. But here, making something visible does not mean fully knowing it. And this is not just a technical problem. It is a tension between visibility and ambiguity. And instead of removing this tension, the system keeps it. These are not problems to solve, but tensions to navigate. So, in the end, this work is not about building a better detection system. It's about changing how we understand harm from events to structures and from decisions to interpretation. This work makes three contributions. It proposes a structural perspective on harm. It uses design as a way of knowing, and it rethinks AI as an interpretive infrastructure. Not to decide for us, but to help us see what might otherwise remain unseen. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, that was fantastic. Let's move on to our next speaker, whose name is Kuo Chun Liu. And his title would be Leveraging VR Technology to Fashion Shows in Heritage Sites, the role of digital medium in architecture preservation. Welcome.
Hello, teachers and friends. Thank you for coming. My name is Kuo Chun Liu. And today I will show you my project in this classroom, creating a VR fashion show in a historical building. As a film director, designer, and a person who really enjoys history and culture, I want to tell you a story to introduce my project. My story starts with a trip to Berlin. At Museum Island, I saw Buddhist caves moved from northwest China. That makes me remind the northwest trip in my primary school. Northwest China have the second largest desert in the world. This place named Lowland, ancient city, because of strong wind, is slowly disappearing. At the same time, I also saw the Pergamon Museum. Those great carvings catched a dramatic moment. They shocked me, but because of forgetting, they were once treated as common stones and destroyed. The power of nature is so great. Lighting, flowers, wind, human beings so short-sighted and forgetful. War, fire, change of face, historical building tell us who we are and where we come from, but they are very weak. So it is our duty to protect them. There are many examples of reusing historical buildings, such as fashion shows and concerts and the film shoots. It will bring a lot of money and let more people know. And for the VR technology, many famous historical buildings and museums have their VR scenes. But at the same time, heavy speakers, lights, and crowds of people cause permanent damage to these buildings. And for VR, from the data here, I'm sure that young people think it's just boring 3D models that's explaining history. I'm sure they don't like it because you can't enjoy it. So, how about create something new? The Summer Palace was once a personal garden of Chinese emperor, but it was destroyed in war. And now, I will use this as a background to tell the story of a VR fashion show. So I have 3 steps in my VR fashion show. Step 1. Visitors see the real ruins. No lies, no models, and you feel the beauty of broken history. This is a starting point. And for step 2, you put on the VR headset. The palace and fountains go back over the ruins. You feel like you are back to 400 years ago. You can walk around and with it, this step serves as a transition. And for step 3, In the VR world, the lights come on and the music starts. No stage is needed. The models walk out from the garden. They were dressed in sparkling clothes that include ancient and traditional style. You see two words at the same time, the silent past and flowering future. At the same time, I built 3 scenes in Blender. Versailles in France, Roman baths in UK, and Daming Palace in China. Since one is Versailles, this palace is almost perfect. I built a traditional show here. You can see seeds and lights. It proves VR can copy real, but it is too traditional. Visitors follow old rules here, and VR is just a tool. For Sense 2 have something change. Roman baths. It is partly ruined but still standing. I removed the stage and add steam and soft light. You can walk anywhere. Fashion is not the only focus. The feeling of the environment is more important. And the third one is Daming Palace. Because of war, it only is left here. I focus on time. Lights and shadow move slowly. The show becomes a story. You stay together with the building, and this shows the deep power of VR, reshaping an experience of time. So finally, I'd like to conclude this presentation with a line from my favorite writer and director, Shakespeare. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. This applies to history, to the world of VR technology, and even more so to us. Thank you.
Brilliant. That was a really interesting topic. I really enjoy it. Let's move on to our next speaker, whose name is Li Ze. His topic is about making conflict visible, design judgment in AI-supported creative collaboration. Welcome.
Okay, hello everyone. My research is making conflict visible. So I believe in current AI system in design, it doesn't have enough conflict to show the designer. My name is Li Ze, so I'm a PhD researcher. My background is a product designer. And yeah, this is the cases we've been working with. So it's, we are trying to design a baby monitor. But at first, we think user more like more high technology style or more like want to more intelligent. But user always concerned about their privacy too. They want to feel like safety and comfortable with their baby. So there comes out two directions. One is will feels like a more home friendly, more relaxed, more safe. And another is more like technology, more powerful, more intelligence. But the thing is, in the real design, there is always have no single best answer. So in today, AI is getting into different fields. But what's going on when AI go into design field? Right here, we can see AI is more good at generation the picture and ideas. But some people argue with this, AI generated picture doesn't fully make sense in the real world. But the thing is AI is starting to learning about the physical world and learning about the structure. And therefore, I think in the future, AI can complete the design mission by itself. But will give us a question about what if AI can complete their job by themselves? Do we still need a human to do the design? Well, about this question, my answer will be like, we still remain the human in the loop. So there's a few reasons. First is a value conflict, just like previously baby monitor ideas. You need to decide which direction should be. And another is the situated judgments. Like AI is good at stealing information, but we still need human because the world is really complex environment and constructs the meaning. For example, like a product in design doesn't mean only satisfies its function. It also reveals the designer personal value and the designer what want the real world become with. And how about next? We take a look at design structure. Design is always facing complex ideas and is always have open-ended. And it's hard to say one product will be definitely good design or bad design. And they will have multiple perspectives and competing priorities. I believe such structure are more suitable for multi-agent design and multi-agent systems. But what is multi-agent systems? When there's a complex task will give to AI, the AI will give into different agents, and all those different agents will responsible for different jobs. Someone may be responsible for picture, and someone may be dealing with data analysis. And all those together, they're working, finish the jobs. And therefore, I think this have a connection between those two structures, because design always have multiple dimensional perspectives. And in the system, there will be have different agents who represent different perspectives. And in this agent systems, they're easy to create conflict structure in there. And they will always have not a single answer for the result. And I'm saying currently AI systems are not suitable for design missions. For example, like large language models, just like ChatGPT or Gemini something. because their generation answer are more likely to be higher accuracy rates, not for potentially answer for the design. And they are good at make their answer more like reasonable, you will be more likely to believe their answer, which reduce the designer about their conflict idea and their thinking. And even though I say multi-agent system is suitable, but currently there still have some problems because currently multi-agent system try to synthesize all those different answers into final answer. They want to try to reduce human interaction in their systems, which I think is a little bit missing. Therefore, my research question is how can conflict be made visible in AI-supported design collaborations, and how does this influence human judgments? And before we talk about how to make conflict visible, we need to discuss what is conflict. So in systems, my idea is there should be not considered as an error, and there will reveal differences between design logics, and there will be a condition for judgments. And how to make conflict visible, there's 3 ideas. The one is will reveal to user who is speaking, and which means tell the user what this agent is for. And another is priority legibility, telling the user what the agents may be concerned about, how their value be. And finally, coordination legibility. In this part, the user gonna be dealing with how do they dealing with the conflict in all those systems, how they be choosing their value should be. And in my research, there probably going to be 2 versions. One will be revealed, another will be hidden. And there's another research question is how does this influence human judgments? So which means we need to test the judgments, but judgments cannot be directly tested because it's a process, not a single point. And it's built up by human. How do human thinking? And finally, judgment is context dependent. And that's why I need to design the system to test it. And there's 3 approaches to test the judgments. The one is outcome-based. So the user will focusing on the outcome at the final answer, and another is process-based. We will measure the user to how to control the system, how much they're staring at some questions. And finally, it's self-reported. We'll see user how they're thinking about the systems. So in my research, we'll be mainly using process-based and self-reported. Because process-based can answer this question, we think judgment is a process, not a single point, and self-reported will be answer how user build up their decisions. And therefore, I think currently AI are having some problems to deal with design because they are not specifically designed to be finished the creativity jobs and for design. I think designers should not be totally panicked about the future AI will be took their jobs or something. And I think that's my presentation. Thank you for your time.
我说一下结束语。
Thanks for all the excellent presentations here, and we will have a little break. We will be back in 11, so see you soon then. Okay, here we go, and welcome back, and thanks for all of you here with us. So our next speaker, whose name is Wang Jingjun, and her research is about place perception and palette, developing a practice-led framework for regional color in design. Welcome.
Hello everyone. Today I will present my research titled From Local Color to Transformable Design Knowledge, adopting a practice-oriented approach that study explores how regional color is generated and perceived in specific urban contexts and further translated into design standards. Meanwhile, I take Xinyang as a methodological experimental field to establish a transformable research framework. Okay, there are images of various regions in China whose color characteristics are directly shaped by local landform and geomorphology factors. In contemporary urban development, there is an obvious trend of urban visual homogenization. Different cities are becoming increasingly similar in color, materials, and visual expression, leading to a serious problem. Many cities are generally losing their unique local visual characteristics. Currently, most existing urban color studies focus on color card induction or visual classification, but lack in deep exploration of a core issue: how colors are generated in specific environmental and cultural conditions. Based on this context, this study identifies a key research gap. Existing studies generally regard color as a static visual outcome rather than a dynamic generative process, and there is no systematic integration among environment factors, human perception, and design transformation. Thus, this paper raises the core research question: how can we understand regional color as a generative process and further translate it into feasible design methods? The overall aim of this study is to construct a transformable methodological framework for regional color design. To achieve this, the research follows 5 key steps. First, analyze how colors take shape under environmental and materials conditions. Second, investigate how different groups perceive as regional colors. Third, construct a relational color mapping system. Fourth, propose principles for color design translation. Finally, validate the methodology through design practice and evaluate its adoptability in different cities, as shown in the framework. Unlike traditional studies that directly extract fixed colors, I interpret color as a dynamic process, starting from context, environmental and material conditions, moving to generation and perception through field observation, constructing a color system via relational modeling, and finally leading to design constellation and application. Crucially, color is not a fixed color switch, but a dynamic system joined from by environmental perception and design. I chose Xinyang not of regional portfolios, but for methodological reasons. It provides an ideal context to observe the color generation machines clearly. First, it's human climate and diffuse light involved local colors with distinct grow tones and soft features. Second, the tea industry lacks a representative local production model in both color deeply into materials and daily life. Third, Xinyang is an urban transformation stage with coexisting tradition and modernity, allowing us to observe how colors are disrupted reconstructed and regraded. Therefore, Xinyang is not the end of this research, but the starting point for developing the methodology. As shown there, Xinyang on the left serves as an experimental field to observe the color generation machine, while London on the right has entirely different environment and material conditions. However, our methodology framework remains constant between the two. Thus, the core of this study is not specific colors, but the way we understand and translate color. In short, the methodology is universal, while outcomes vary by regional. This study adopts a practice-oriented paradigm. In this research, the Xinyang urban color outlines is both a design outcome and a crucial research tool. The design prototype is not a final presentation, but an essential means to test it and reveals the methodology. Thus, design itself is an integral part of knowledge production. This research has three more conditions. First, conceptually, it defines regional color as a relational system rather than fixed color values. Second, methodologically, it proposes the generation, perception, translation framework. Third, practically, it constructs color outlines and develops a systematic design translation models. Overall, this study contains a theory, methodology, and design practice. In conclusion, starting from a local case, this research and ultimately develops a transferable methodology. It emphasizes that the regional color is not simple extracted, but constantly generated and translated through the interaction of environment, perception, and design. By taking Xinyang as a methodological experimental field, I strive to build a research pathway adaptable to diverse urban contexts. Thank you for your kind attention.
Hello guys, we will have a half an hour break and we'll back 11:45 and see you then. Thank you. welcome. Sorry, sorry. Welcome to come back. I still feel good to have you here. And welcome to our last speakers here. And her topic is about sensory experience like revitalization of ICH, translating no-opera into fiber art installations. So welcome to our last speaker, Wen Tingxu. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. This research is not to offer a new way of the healing. It is a review, a healing power structured in heritage preservation. When a ritual must be explained, be understood, is a plain art controls what it means. The audience is seen as ignorant people who need to be taught. They started to use a sensory installation that need no translation. It gives the ritual back to the body. Knowledge no longer belongs to scholars. It's returned to our persons who work inside. I want to share a research proposal with you today. It sits at the intersection of the cultural heritage, fine art, and emotional healing. Opera is a national Chinese ritual performance. It uses marks, dance, and rhythmic chanting. Traditional it was performed to drive away over speed and bring space. The ritual creates a protective and transformative space. We live in the age of high anxiety and emotional disconnection. Material abundance does not help. Loneliness and meaninglessness are widespread. Traditionally, like opera, have long been known for healing potential. But today, most heritage presentations treat opera as a static artifact. People watch it, he hears explanation, they see the visual productions, but they rarely feel it. Existing studies on the heritage vegetations focus too much on the visual and the symbolic interpretation. Scholars preserved masks, costumes, and movements, but the inner experience of the ritual is locked away. That experience includes that capacity to assume and transform emotions. What is missing in the transmissional mechanism? We need a way to translate the ritual spirit into a direct sensory experience. This must bypass language and intellectual decoding. My research proposal is a different path. I do not ask audiences to understand no operas intellectually. Instead, I want them to experience its body. The objective is to construct an immersive space using fiber installation. I will use soft, tactile, and developing materials. This space will activate the non-verbal healing powers of the opera. It will also build the emotional connection between the temporary viewers and the rituals. I group this work on the two pillars. First, embodied phenomenology. Merleau-Ponty argues that we understand the world first through our senses and bodies, not through the symbols. Second, the culture's translation series. Here, translation means transforming the ritual elements into the materials, spatial, and light-based properties. Examples are the tactile circles, the rhythmic present, and the liminal atmosphere. Together, there's a framework argues that healing does not require expressions. Healing requires emotions. The research will proceed the 2 tracks. First, artist practice. I will create a fiber-based immersive installation with 5 integrative modules. These modules work together as a complete sensory themes. They include a soft fiber mask, a full coverage tactile flow mount, a ritual white noise soundscape, a hidden low frequency vibration, and a reaching wall. Together, they gauge vision, touch, hearing, body vibration, and interaction. No facial mask replication, no theatrical performance, no traditional symbols. Only fiber materials, immersive sound and vibration, and emotional participation. Second, data collection. I will invite the participants to enter the installations individually or in the small groups. I will gather the sensory feedback through observations, records, open-ending the questionnaire, and semi-structured interviews. All data will be analyzed qualitatively. We focus on the feeling comfort, anxiety reduction, and emotional shift. I have not yet conducted in empirical phase, so I present a hypothesis. No symbolic or textual mediums will be needed. No explanation panels, no historic narration, only spatial scale, fiber tactility, light, development, sound, vibration, and interaction will be present. This alone will be enabled participants to experience ritual comfort and emotional relief. This expectation is grounded in the art and the sensory myology. In those fields, no representations, spaces, low cortisol, and induce. I must also acknowledge limitations. This is a practice-based research project. It's still in the planning stage. I do not yet have empirical results. My current claims are the theoretical and methodological. I am technically interested in the research working on the ritual, sensory design, or heritage psychology. Any suggestion and discussion are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. So that brings us to the end of this presentation. Next, we will move on to the IMA Art and Design Student Showcase. And you're very welcome to visit the immersive digital room to interact with technology things. You can feel, watch, or you could also choose to watch it online. We have live stream as well. And thank you for everyone being here today. And a big thank you to all the speakers and the team for all the hard work behind this event. And also, tomorrow would be the fourth day for Residuum conference, and it's our final day. And welcome you to follow it. And also, we will have a live stream as well for tomorrow's conference. And okay, so today's showcase will until 2 p.m. So welcome, everyone. Thank you.
we're standing in line to clubs I'll never get in. It's like the bottom of the ninth and I'm never gonna win this. Life hasn't turned out quite the way I want it to be.
Tell me what you want.
I want a brand new house on an episode of Cribs and a bathroom I can play baseball in, and a king-size tub big enough for 10 plus me.
So what you need?
I'll need a credit card that's got no limit and a big black
it didn't really fall hard. This one here.
standing in line to clubs I'll never get in. It's like the bottom of the ninth and I'm never gonna win this. Life hasn't turned out quite the way I want it to be.
Tell me what you want.
I want a brand new house on an episode of Cribs and a bathroom I can play baseball in, and a king-size tub big enough for 10 plus me.
So what you need?
I'll need a credit card that's got no limit and a big
didn't really fight hard. This one here.
we're standing in line to clubs I'll never get in. It's like the bottom of the ninth and I'm never gonna win this. Life hasn't turned out quite the way I want it to be.
Tell me what you want.
I want a brand new house on an episode of Cribs and a bathroom I can play baseball in, and a king-size tub big enough for 10 plus me.
So what you need?
I'll need a credit card that's got no limit and a big